It's another Sunday, and the boys are back. The VPL is back after a very long, audacious, annoying withdrawal syndrome from the international break. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm Nigerian. I'm very sad right now. But I've got the boys, except for one. Unfortunately, Toba is not with us today, but I've got the men of the men. I've got Temitope Ojo, the lovely Juventus fan who cannot hide his love for the EPL, the best league in the
No,
world.
I can't. The EPL is beautiful, and here
Lovely.
we are.
I've got a man who is true to his form. He's always stayed true to his form from the time I've known him. He's always been an Arsenal fan. The man Chijoke.
Controversy.
All this slide.
Oh my goodness. And then I've got the man who does not know where he is. I have never seen anyone more confused than him before. He's either an Arsenal fan today or a Man City fan.
I know where I am today. I'm a Man United fan.
Yeah, you see, I have not even said everything and it's already confirming situations. He's as confused as anything, but he's as knowledgeable as any other person in the world. I've got the boys. The EPL is back. Lots to discuss. Of course, the big one is the Liverpool versus Manchester United team. We could either start there or we could keep that for the whole or you know what? Let's start from there because that seems to be the big thing itself. Let's start from there. Liverpool Man U. The Man U fan, what do you say?
The Man U fan is not here. Hey, Toba, I'll represent Toba since we share the same name, in fact. But that was a sensational match. Glory, glory, Man United. I was about to pour a glass of wine before joining the session, but I couldn't get to it because my son was distracting me. But that was worth celebrating. Congratulations, Manchester. And I know that you're happy. You don't want to blow the trumpet, TJK. So stop for me. I know that you're over the moon right now. But no,
Well,
congratulations.
unfortunately, I did not watch the match because I am supposed to be the Liverpool fan here. We should be
Hmm.
countering you and sort of making you stay in your place. But I think I have to bite the honest, whatever they call it in English.
Yep, the
Uh,
bullet. Yes, yes.
I have to
You have,
bite the
you
honest
have,
bullet in this one because this
yes.
is four games on the run. It's all ended in defeat.
I mean, I told you 2 weeks ago that we are putting slots on fraud watch. You need to agree.
I
So I
refuse
think
to
that
agree. I still refuse to agree, but I am worried.
I'm already seeing slot outfit. I'm
No.
already seeing slot outfit.
I think those are just finicky fans like yourself who moves from Manchester United to Arsenal and back to Man City. I think those
Nah,
are who they are.
nah, nah, bro. There's nothing you can say to me today. But I'm the happiest.
From a tactical point, what would you say? You watched the match. What would you say?
Oh no, I did not watch the match. I was following.
Okay,
I was
okay.
with my son in bed. He was sleeping. So I couldn't watch the match. But I was just watching I was watching the and again, like I said 2 weeks ago, I think the signs are there that Slot needs to earn his manager's salary. You can't make excuses just the way somebody used to say. Excuses and results do not make. You can't make excuses for 4 matches back to back. I saw it today. L's back to back. You never smack alone. People are bantering Liverpool. But the fact that he hasn't figured out his starting 11 and his substitution is still very clear. I was watching some of the post-match analysis and it disjointed. I don't know how that translated into the actual match, but it seems like the sub today did not work. Again, Chiesa worked, provided an assist, but overall gameplay, I feel like it did not work. Then again, Slot starting 11. Are you getting wrong? What have you gotten wrong in 4 matches back? What is happening? Yes. What
It's difficult to
is
say.
going on? Exactly. What's going on? Is it that I mean, anecdotally, just as an opposition fan and the fan that's not wishing Liverpool well, I am sensing that players might not be playing exactly for slot. They are not playing out exactly what he wants, and they don't believe in what his vision is for this new team. Yes, and I feel like that's why the new joiners are not gelling currently. That's my opinion. It's not based on any exact clear evidence or scientific evidence right now. But right now, that's how I am feeling because this is 8 matches into the season, and that's a long time for a new set of players not to get the best striker in the league, not to give me any upgrade. The best young player in the German league, again, not delivering anything significant. I know Allison injury was there. Salah, the best player in the Premier League last year, again, severely underperforming. A lot of things are going wrong right now. Then that defense just, I mean, when I say Torino, you're losing the start of the season. Why are they losing goals? Why is there a lack of that goal that Mbemo scored? It's too early to lose concentration in a high-stake match like that. I was watching Van Dijk just now, and he said he didn't think Mbemo could score.
That unfortunately, it should be one never to say such a thing again.
I just watched him say, he said he didn't expect that Mbemo would be able to score from that angle. So that's those question marks around slots. Again, this is not just the players; it's around slots and his management staff. What exactly are you telling your players? Could Gakpo, yes, I was trying to get into the first team, seems to be the only one that. I saw a tweet today that could Gakpo didn't play too well. But again, these are the players that seem to be trying to pull the manager's plan together in the match. Everybody else seems to be a little bit lax. Unfortunately, I'll leave it to you.
It is unfortunate indeed. Just like you, unfortunately, I only caught the last sort of 10 minutes of that game where Liverpool was trying to. I think I caught them just towards the end of the 1-1 and just at the beginning of the 2-1 when Maguire scored that header.
Yep.
And I sort of watched it forward from there. And all I saw was a team that was playing in a way that they've never played before. Liverpool has never been a team that crosses balls into the box. We have never had strikers that crosses ball into the box. I mean, it may eventually work. Maybe that's his new plan to be that kind of thing, because obviously the few ones that did come in were very deadly crosses, but they were well dealt with by Manchester United defense team.
Yeah.
So just before we came in, I was speaking with Chijoke and I said, it appears to me that he is trying to embellish a way of play in the team and is meeting a systemic immune response based on what Klopp has left on ground. So this is a team that is known to play in a particular way. They've always been bumbling forward. They've always been pro-attacking, and then you are trying to embellish a new software, as Tokwe once said in one of our previous editions. You are trying to embellish a new software into that team. And unfortunately, the previous software there is saying, I am not leaving yet. So you're having a team that is systemically confused. The entire team is confused. It will be easy to lay blame on one person, but when you look at the beginning from the first game to in fact, from the preseason, because one of the things I've always known about Liverpool, call it me being a soothsayer. If you watch Liverpool preseason, you can always predict the way they will play into the game. Whatever they were doing preseason, whatever problems they face in preseason is always the problem they end up always facing in the EPL all through. So from the preseason, I've realized that there seems to be a problem, but we've always had a 1 minute late chances to sort of win. So it's definitely a problem for Arne Slot to solve, but I don't think he is on the watch list as you put him. At least I don't buy that yet. He's bought himself a lot of credit by winning
No, no.
that first leg.
Four losses back to back automatically puts you on the watch.
Nah, not for nah.
You're a terrorist. You're not a
Nah,
terrorist. Something is
come
going
on,
on.
come on, come on, come on. Let me bring the other guys into it. Let me start with the man who should be the happiest today. Chijoke, what's your say quickly on Liverpool Man U? I know you don't want to say anything. I know you don't want to even talk about this. The one you want to talk about, we'll talk about it.
I'm not the happiest man anymore, but I'm happy. I'm not going to talk on the 10 games into the season. But my problem is Slot, since it seems to be the topic now. I feel that he has started playing mind games with. He's always been to his press conference, he's talking about everything. Arsenal has been at the top tip of his tongue. The past like 3 press conferences. I feel like for a team that's losing 3 games in a row, and you're about to host Manchester United, maybe. I feel that you should be cautious. I feel that you should concentrate on this. it almost felt like he was bastardizing set piece goal. How you are playing a team that is beating you from open play, and you cannot even come out and say, you know, let me go try something else to score. Because, like you said, the Liverpool team has a certain DNA, and Klopp has like reinforced that DNA, right? Everybody go, run around the whole way, do some combination passes, give the ball to Salah, Salah score. So it's almost dependent on if Salah is on form. Unfortunately, Salah has not been on form. So if you start picking out the things that have gone wrong for Liverpool, yeah, you can pick up one, two, three things. But I feel that it's the combination of all this, especially Slot staying on his lane, so to speak. I might use that. He's a very good manager. I don't want to say Slot is not like that. It's just like it's strange for you to have a top team like that that has just won the league. And after spending the amount of money they spent, lose 4 games in a row. Of course, it's going to be added pressure. But I feel that they can still get over it, so to speak. But it will need them going back to the basics. Basics now being play first calm down. Because the truth is that once again, Liverpool played well. And Liverpool combined well. Um, Gakpo hit it by 3 times. They really, this is the truth. They played well. On another day, any of those shots could have just gone to the right side of the post and entered. And it would be different. We are talking about something different. Even when it was 2-2, Frimpong crossed in one beautiful ball. Gakpo one on one with the goalkeeper. It was like one on one with post. Headed it out. You understand? So it's not like that's what it, so that's why I'm not bothered. It's not like you're looking at Liverpool and saying, they're falling off. No, they haven't fallen off. What has just happened is that in 3 games, the thing that they wear you out, overload you, then all of a sudden there'll be one magic and they'll just score. And so that's why most of the time most of the goals are coming in the last minute. That's why I kept on talking about this last minute winning because if you don't address it, if you don't sit down and address it and say, okay, this is the reason why we're having this issue. Let's try to address it. Winning 1-0, 90th minute is not, it's not going to change anything. There has to be a systemic review on how why we always need the last minute goal. Because it was obvious this time. When they scored 1-1, it was building a momentum again. But all of a sudden Manchester United killed it. And I was surprised. Normally, I'm not that second half. Throughout the second half, there were not any stoppage apart from the 2 goals and a few substitutions. And they did not give Liverpool 3 minutes extra time. They gave them 8. I said they want Liverpool to come up again as they normally do. Go and score the last minute. I'm not really bothered about Liverpool dropping out of the battles or them. So I feel like I said the tactical edges that Ancelotti use, like like this system is just flowing. Okay, let me just improve it by this tactical. I think she has lost all that because I think everybody has got it. I know that everybody is there. I'm not the captain, so to speak. This is what you should have done. I should have beaten it up. So, but I feel that credit should go to Manchester United too. I want them to be happy. They won 2 games in a row for the first time in a man's career. It might just be what they need to sort of first prove to themselves that they are Premier League worthy because they've been dilly-dallying around that championship, those championship slots. It's like they've been playing player for championship for the past more than 1 year. So I feel like now if you give them an opportunity, that you know what, you can actually challenge. You can look at it and say Liverpool. Liverpool played well. United played well. They were very, very dogged. It was more like when they scored that goal, you didn't see them. It was not like they ran crazy, like, how can we do? It was like, yes, that this, since this was the plan. I feel it was a good day for Manchester United. Good day for Arsenal. That's what I told my team. Like I said, until the 10th game, that's what I said.
Let me bring Topa in here. Topa, I know Toba is not around, so I'm hoping you will deputize for him a little bit. Do you think that this kind of match where Manchester United finally beat Liverpool, a win in almost, I think it's almost like 10 seasons now in Anfield, do you think this can be a spring to their footstep?
Yes, I agree with that point of view. In fact, the last line, what you just said now, the last time any United manager won at Anfield was in 2016. And that's, as you said, 9 years ago, almost a decade. That's a long time for a football team, for a football club in the caliber, in the hierarchy, of the size of Manchester United. So, but it's a good thing they won today. But beyond that, I usually try to go into nitty-gritty of the game from United's point of view. You guys have said everything from Liverpool's point of view. That's absolutely fine. I have nothing to add. But from United's point of view, this is a good win for morale. This is a morale booster. I'm hoping they can build on this and become better. But like I always say, I'd like for United, the team and the coach, to not get carried away by this result. And the reason is there's something I've started doing. After every game, I go back to check how many big chances were created. For both teams, it was 5 each. United were just lucky to have scored theirs. Both teams had 5 big goal scoring chances in the course of 90 minutes. Now, the other thing is the XG, that's the expected goals. And this is very, very important because for me, when I look at that statistic, what I make out of it is how sustainable is what you are playing. Is this result a one-off, or is this what we actually will be seeing over time? And if you look at the XG for that game, the XG for United throughout the game was 1.26. and Liverpool was 2.76. So if you were to go by just XG, this game should have ended 3-1 in favor of Liverpool, right? And I'm not saying, obviously the reality is different, but I'm only saying that, if you then extrapolate this, if United continue to play this way, I'm not sure they will be able to give us consecutive winning performances like they have done in the last 2 games. It would appear as if these last 2 games were just flukes, were just one-off, were just, because they met the teams they met and circumstances that happened the way they happened. So what this stat is just showing is that United are not at the level, that we want them to be. If they continue playing like this, how much of the next 10 games will they be able to reproduce such a result as today in? So it's very key to not be elevated from the ground too much, considering what United. And to go back to the game they play, well, the for the first time, I must say that Amorim got it right straight from the beginning regarding the lineup. When I saw the lineup and I think Shesko didn't start. There was someone that did not start. I think it was Shesko. And I was wondering what was really going on. But he got the lineup right. Now, to go on from there, I loved the way Casemiro played. However, what I failed to understand was at some point, it looked as if there was a little bit of fear in United. And it looked as if they were really rushing their play. They wanted to just bump the ball out. They wanted to just kick it to Rosette. The keeper, I think it was a bit of inexperience as well for him. He didn't just want to put a foot wrong, but in not wanting to do so, there were a lot of balls that they were just playing forward, and it appeared as if there was no purpose to it. And I wonder if they were playing a much more serious, stronger team, a team like the present Arsenal, the way Arsenal is now, or even Manchester City, or maybe even Crystal Palace, and they played the same way, would they have gotten a win? So those are the issues, those are the talking points. But I still believe that, Amorim is a work in progress. Like you said, rightly said at the very beginning, I think it was Chris as well, or Chris that mentioned it. I don't like excuses. And this is one guy that was given excuse to for too long. So I'm hoping they build on this and they really shut us up, surprise us, prove us wrong that what we predicted, especially all the slander from last season, all the banter, it was worth it, and that they are really a work in progress. But
Oh,
that's my take on United.
all right. So, Manchester United is a work in progress, but there is a team that seems to have completed that process entirely. Mr. Pep, he seems to be flying under the radar. Manchester City versus Everton. I am going to come back to this chameleon of a man that was pretending to be Manchester United. Chris Yari, Manchester City, your team, they are flying. What seems to be happening? Where is this coming from compared to last season? We will find out at the end of the season. We will find out. Oh, yes, yes, that's true.
They've been, sure right now. Somebody was asking the question yesterday. Can City genuinely fight for the title with just Haaland? Like Haaland delivering goals? No, it's not possible. You can't win a title with just one striker delivering all your goals. But right now, for Pep, if you check that team, there are three people that usually start: Haaland, Ruben Diaz, and Donnarumma. Sometimes Foden. Sometimes he keeps Foden in the starting level. But everybody doesn't have a starting spot. Everybody rotates. Netanyahu today, Guardiola tomorrow, Nunez today, O'Reilly tomorrow, Oscar Bob tomorrow. You get Kovacic, Nico Gonzalez. So Pep is a manager that's also still trying to figure out his next big 11 title winning EPL dominating team. He hasn't gotten that yet. And I think the defense still leaks goals. If you check that chart that I posted on the group yesterday, City are somewhere down that upper quadrant. They're just right on the line. They don't have a very good defense. They have a good attack, but they don't have a very good defense. And if you've scored 17 goals in the league, considered six, that's why they have a goal difference of 11. And Haaland has scored 11 of those 17 goals. You're not going to win the league. You're good, but you're not going to win the league. That means on the day that you meet a team that can lock Haaland down, or a team that can mark Haaland out of the way, or they put a proper mid block and you can't really, penetrate, what happens? Haaland will just be a spectator or passenger in that match, and you're not going to score. So right now, City are still trying to find their foot. I think that they will continue to get better if Pep figures out his best starting back. Right now, he hasn't figured. He hasn't played the same starting back. I don't think he has played the same starting back to back in the league since he started. It has been always Ruben Diaz, Guardiola, Ruben Diaz, Netanyahu, Ruben Diaz, Guardiola. Sometimes we start Guardiola on the left, as left back. Sometimes we will start Nunez. Sometimes we put somebody else there. You get it's all over the place right now, and he only has a choice of Nico Gonzalez and Kovacic. Without Rodri, who's currently injured or struggling with his knee, it's going to be difficult. And these are the backbone of the team. So right now there's no backbone in the midfield. But aside all of that, I think City, with what Liverpool is doing right now, I think City might finish above Liverpool.
Let me come back to you. Let me pick it up from there. Obviously, the one of the beautiful thing about the EPL is the social media attention that comes on top of all the teams. The one team that seems to have escaped from that social media attention is definitely City. Do you think that it's time we now start focusing on City as well as part of these contenders? Because they have been flying under the radar. We cannot deny that. Nobody has been speaking about them. No pundit has spoken so much about them. Nobody has really brought them to the fray of talking about them as a title challenger. They just sort of sit on the edge right there. Do you think it's time to start beaming a shine light or a focus light on Man City?
I think this is the perfect cocktail that Pep Guardiola would have loved. And it's the cocktail where, he's just doing his thing, nobody's really talking about it. And just when, he hits, every season there is an expectation that Guardiola would get a run of 14 consecutive wins at some point. And he hasn't even gotten to that point in the season. Now, I don't want to be dragged into the talk of who would win the league or who would not, especially at this early stage of the season. But there's something that someone said one day, and it's not a 100% guaranteed, accurate statement. He said the reason we've had other winners is because there have been problems with City's title defense. That's why we've had other winners. Now, on one hand, it might sound like the newspaper stand talk, but there's a bit of truth, even in the words of a madman. That's what I've realized. Now, the Guardiola we know is very, very deadly when nobody's looking at him. I am hoping, that other teams are also wary of the fact that he is placed second now. Now, I disagree with Chris on some of the things that he mentioned about City's defense shaky. Now, that was at the very early stages of the season. Things have changed in the last 3 games. I'm looking at their season stats so far now on The Athletic. Goals scored per game. Season total, 2.13 goals per game. They are ranked first. Right? Clean sheets, they are ranked third. Goals conceded per game, 0.75. But you must consider that they conceded a lot before Donnarumma came in. Things have changed. Shots on goal per game, this is where it becomes really, really dangerous. 4.88 game. You are saying a team is averaging almost 5 shots on goal per game. That is insane. That is insane. If that team, you don't think that they will mount a serious title challenge, I think that might be, maybe trying to underplay it. But I think this is the perfect cocktail. You said something that, maybe this is the time everybody should be shining the light, the focus on City. The truth is that people try and look for what sells paper. People try and look for what sells, what will trend. Apart from Haaland, I don't think there's anything else, trending in City now. What will have trended before would have been the 100 and how many charges that was what trended throughout last year. Unfortunately, now there's really, really nothing that is trending about City, and that's why the media is really not focusing on them. Maybe if we start seeing officiating gaps or things like that in their games, or people might start talking about them. But I must say that they are really, really managing their media now. Even if you look at the games, once they've had the game, the post-match conferences, the way the players talk after, they don't really want to say anything ridiculous. It's like someone has talked to them, so they don't see anything that will make the media shine the spotlight on them. But I think they are really, really good, doing a good job. And if this is just the beginning, and we are hoping they can get better, especially until they reach that 14 consecutive match winning run, I think we might be in for something this season. But it's still early stages. Let's all look forward to what we will see,
CJ,
especially by December.
CJ, before you jump in, can I just quickly say something? I don't think City would not. I'm not saying City would not fight or they would not be up there, getting the points or gathering the points. I just don't think this current City team is a title winning team compared to, and that's why I put them in second compared to Arsenal, right? I don't think if you have one person scoring 60, 72% of your goals, I don't think you can win the league. I don't think if
To address that,
I don't think if you don't have a stable midfield, because City currently plays 4-1-4-1. If you don't have a stable midfield, I don't think you can win the league. I think you can create
Chris,
chances and
Chris, they are creating chances.
But it depends.
They are creating chances.
Yes, they are creating chances, but it depends.
They are creating chances. But you neglect something. There was a season that Haaland scored more than 60% of their goals and they won the league. They've done it before. So it's not new. It's not as if this is something we are saying for the.
Haaland scored more than 60% of City's goals.
When Haaland's first season in Premier League, how many goals did he score for Manchester City?
I can't
And how
remember,
many
but
goals
it was
did
close to
Manchester City score in total?
50% of City's. And then we had KDB. Always remember, we had KDB, we had Rodri, right?
Hold on. I'm going to look for that stat and bring it out.
We don't.
While you are looking for the stats, and we are talking about teams that are trending, the one team that is trending, and they've always wanted to trend, and I hope they trend. Well, I actually do not hope they trend, to be quite sincere, is Arsenal. Chijioke, you are on top of the league. Things are going the right way. Is this the season? Is this when Mr. Arteta will finally take away the curse?
So let me just you guys have been having a very. I said it from the very first episode we had. City is a title contender. I don't understand why people are talking about going under the radar. What do you mean going under the radar? Man City going under the radar. And it's a very, very nice issue. This is the thing I like about City fans. They have a subtle way of using English to make it look like they're British. That's what Chris said. Pep Guardiola does not know his starting 11. He's still starting here. In other words, like I said, Man City is a team that is stacked. They are stacked. I don't care about what people say about this injured. They are stacked. That team is stacked. For you to play, how many games have you played this season? 8 games this season.
Yeah.
You've not still started the same back four. You are still changing your back four every single time. Your team is stacked. I don't like the stories of trying to make it look like City is one poverty team that they won't call it. They are proper title contenders. Proper. Pep Guardiola is the same. I don't know, he's the best manager in the world. Pep Guardiola is not a big. He's not somebody that just trying his luck. He knows exactly what he's doing. Pep understands this league. Now, and this is the thing about Pep, right? And it's the same thing. That's why I'm not expecting anything less from us. Now, and that take me to Arsenal's type of time. Everything is going on right because we're top of the team. But I don't think everything is right with the Arsenal team. So now we have, I expected us to struggle this weekend for a few things. First thing is sentimentally, I'll say that Fulham have a lot of Arsenal players. So they had Leno, they had Moby, they had Mr. Pro. So somehow, to translate to you knowing exactly how the opponent is going to play. That's first. The second thing is that they just come from international break, and I feel that that's one thing that helped Manchester United. I'm not sure how many of their players, especially the ones, how many of them played like international. I think that helped. Arsenal players, a lot of them played and traveled a lot, so I mean that they're going to fatigue with it. And I think that what even affected Man City too. They noticed they struggled against Everton until the best. Now, Arsenal is doing well because of our defense. In the 11 games we played this season, 8 clean sheets. We've considered maybe 3 goals in Premier League. But the problem is that we are not yet creating what we want from open play. Against Fulham, it was a lot better in the sense that you know how Gabriel should take one defender away from his wide man. But in previous games, he was not having any shot on target. Against Fulham, he started hitting the target. So it means that he has said that his self doubt is leaving a little bit. He can turn a little bit faster. He can shoot. So, but the problem is Arsenal is not yet creating from open play. And one reason why that is very obvious to see is because our captain has been off. Odegaard has been very, very unlucky with injury, and it showed against Fulham. Against Fulham, we missed him. We can't control the game that much without creating. We didn't create as much as I would have wanted us to. If you notice, when we scored, Fulham came out, and the minute they came out, we didn't have any control, so to speak. Like if we hold the game and just stand down, play some passes because we are missing Odegaard. Yeah, Eze is a good player, but that controller midfield, that person that dictates the tempo of the game. Eze has not still gotten it into his game. Mendy is still trying, but it's not just Odegaard. So I feel that in as much as we are it's still early days, the defense is as wonderful as it has always been, right? But I think that for us to get it right, I think that it has to be the open play, how we create our chances. I think that once we get that, then I can say, okay, well, Arsenal is on the rumble.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to come to you, Chris, because it seems like Chijioke is beginning to lay the template for excuse because I'm pretty sure they are going to fumble and wumble. It is a case of Odegaard not being available this week. God knows what is not going to be available next week. Do you think that Arteta can run the show? Because obviously, now that he is on top of the league, the satellite is going to be on his team. It's the same. It's been the same from ever in the Premier League. Well, whoever is on top of the league becomes the talk of the nation and becomes the ones every pundit wants to talk about. Do you think that that team can withstand the pressure that will come on top of them as part of the accessories, I call it, of the Premier League, all the social media punditry that is going on? Over to you, Chris.
Yes, yes. I'm not the excuse making Arsenal fan. That's where I'm different. I think Arteta, in fact, Fulham versus Arsenal was down to Arteta's brilliance. Can you give me a few seconds? I'll be back, okay?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Chijoke, I'm going to come back to you. He's already beginning to accuse you. He says that he's not the excuse making Arsenal fan, but it seems like you are late.
It's very funny. It's very funny in the sense that the beginning of this season, hey Adriel, how you doing? So it is very obvious in the first few episodes this season, right?
Yes,
I was very vocal about who was going to win the league.
yes.
I kept on saying Arsenal is going to win the league. I'm not going to change every single every single week. I don't think that. I've said it for I'm not changing, and I know exactly how I want my season to end. There's no excuses. This is just the truth. Arsenal's defense is just brutal, right? Like he has even admitted, we are not conceding goals. But the problem is that we are going to face something this year. Now, this is something that not every team faces, right? I can promise you that if Arsenal plays 100 games this year, they are going to face 96 mid block, whether we like it or not. In Champions League, Arsenal play a little bit different because there's no mid block in Champions League. Everybody wants to go attack. But I wish that match against Fulham was very obvious. They played that mid block until Arsenal scored. Immediately Arsenal scored, they unleashed hell. And immediately they did, Arteta had to now switch the game a little bit and say, okay, now it's counter attack. But in that counter attack, by the time he did that, it was off, right? He had brought in Merino. So it was difficult for him to get somebody to say, okay, let me control. And now that I'm talking about it, there's not an excuse. It's just the truth. There's nobody to control the game. So if you have a situation where they're playing another team in the middle, right? So now, and this is why I don't like when the guy makes some certain excuses for Man City. To go to the. The thing is simple, right? Arsenal now, as much as we have players first time and back that can play in any position on that back line. Probably apart from Saliba and Gabriel. I still have that same issue in front, which is nice. Saka can switch now. Martinelli can switch. Mane can switch. Gabriel can play on the left. But in that midfield, it's difficult for you to find for me to like if Rice has not picked up that side of control. Taking the ball, the only person I feel, the only two people there that can do that, Odegaard and Zubimendi. Odegaard is gone. And what do I do? It's not an excuse. Like I said, I didn't
But
lose.
what do? You have Odegaard is God. You have Eze. You have Waneri. You have Dalman. What do you mean? What do you do?
Eze, Waneri, that's what I'm saying. Eze and Waneri, they have a shortness to their game. Eze is not
No,
the kind of
but
person that you give the ball. They have a
no,
shortness to their game. They have, it's the truth. Eze is not the kind of player that can take the ball. See,
I don't like
no,
all
no,
this.
hold on now. Just wait. Let me ask you a question. Let me
Let's
ask you a
give
question.
let's give Marco Silva credit for that first 30 minutes in the first half. Because his team was you're playing Fulham at Craven Cottage. You need to give them credit. Marco Silva, the 4-4-2 was watertight. I was watching Eze. Even if it was Odegaard, there was nothing much he would have done different. I was watching
Mm,
Eze. Now, again, firstly, it also depends on where I know you don't agree with that. It also depends on where Arteta plays you. In that match, Eze was operating a lot. He was receiving the ball a lot from the left side. Odegaard operates from the right side a lot, and that's why If you're combining with Saka, for instance, of course you're much stronger. Ateta told Eze to start and receive the ball on the left side.
Now,
He
Chris,
got
before you
time.
continue, this is what I'm saying. I need you to watch Odegaard this season with television. Olympia Cup Lakers. And watch those games. Now, those games, what happened was immediately Odegaard entered, the many came forward and Odegaard started playing right behind him. Meaning that Odegaard could switch right or left.
I
And
agree.
immediately Odegaard did that. In those games, Odegaard took over those matches. Like they could not touch him. Like there's no how you couldn't. It made the was very funny because Bruno Gomes and Johnny, those two forms, normally they don't go and mop you out. They couldn't because they knew that once they left, had Mendy right behind them. So they were stuck to going behind. Odegaard was just spraying his passes. I'm not saying Eze is a bad player, but I'm saying that Eze now cannot do that. And that's why whenever all of Eze's best games for Arsenal have been with Odegaard behind him, playing those passes and controlling the midfield that way. If I don't have that player and he's injured, it's not an excuse. It's the truth. He's just not
I'm
there.
not saying it's an
But I'm not
excuse.
saying that, don't get me wrong. See, if I'm not saying that, because Odegaard is not there, we're not going to lose next match. No, we're not. No, we're not.
No, no.
But
So
the
no.
point is that he would have just been better if he was
What I'm
there.
saying is this. What I'm saying is this, Chijoke. It depends on what the coach wants. That's why I said you need to give Silva credits, right? It depends on what your coach wants to do. If Ateta's go-to strategy right now without Odegaard, I mean, Odegaard was injured with shoulder injury twice. He has been injured now with a knee injury. His strategy is confusing any team he faces with that triangle of, and that's because they're very good on the ball. That triangle of Calafiori, Eze, and Trossard, right? On the left. On the right, even Calafiori right now, yesterday he was drifting all the way to the right to go and combine with, Timber and Saka in that area of the field. And that's because Fulham choked that midfield with their four midfielders, and they were very good at it. There was no space. They marked all the before Eze receives a ball, he's passing back. There's nowhere to turn to. There's nowhere to combine with Calafiori. There's nowhere for Calafiori to even run into. It was later on when everywhere don't choke. There was no nose. It was later on that Fulham started getting tired. Then they sat back. Even before the goal came, they sat back because they could not keep pressing. You need to keep pressing for you to prevent Calafiori or Eze from running and occupying spaces. But they couldn't sustain that pressure, that pressing tactic for the whole of the 45. So they sat back after like 30 minutes. That's when Arsenal started to probe. Rice started to go forward a little bit and they started to penetrate. And Arsenal played very well in that first half, also towards the end of the game. They created very good goal scoring chances. I remember Gyökeres getting Saka laid one very nice pass for him, and he took a very nice shot. The keeper, it was the hottest shot in that first half. The keeper saved it. I mean, Leno was really good. But you need to also give Arteta credit for that game. Yes, aside the fact that he has a splendid defense, for you to block Fulham from creating any shot on target at all, you are defending well, then you find that grit to still get a goal from a set piece. That was just a masterful. It was Arteta's game yesterday. It was like two managers going against each other, and Arteta came out on top because he knew he had the resources. There was no way they could penetrate his defense, but he also had extra resources in attack. Can you take off Eze in a match that Odegaard is not playing? Because Arteta had options. He had options. He knew what he wanted to do. He had options. How can you take up Trossard wasn't playing very well, but he left Trossard on.
You know what? I'm loving this, I must say, because looking at the two Arsenal fans as they call themselves banter like this reassures me that they are not going to win the league. It's too sure me die. Let's move on to a team that seems to be rising up very fast. Chelsea. The boys are running. They are young, they are plenty. Maraska seems to have finally gotten them playing good football. Are they a title contender? Temitope Ojo, I'm going to throw this to you. Chelsea.
The answer to that is a flat no. And that's my opinion. I'm not saying that's what will happen. But that's my opinion. I don't think that Chelsea are a title contender. And the reason I've said so is because of the way they've been playing. It looks like discipline is a problem with Chelsea. They usually hardly do they scrape by in a game without getting a red card these days. But that's not to take away from their performance against Nottingham Forest, the problematic Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest over the weekend. The game that sealed Nottingham Forest coach's fate. They were very efficient, Chelsea. They took their chances in that game. They had an XG of 1.67 compared to Nottingham Forest XG, expected goals of 2.35. So if you were to go just by XG, Nottingham Forest should have won that game 2-1. Let's say maybe the game should have been 2-2 at the worst case scenario, 2-2, a draw at worst case scenario. But Chelsea came out on top. Second half performance, fantastic. They had Nottingham Forest undone, despite Nottingham Forest's brilliant performance in the first half. But at the end of the game, they still ended up getting a red card. I don't know. I think this is 3 or 4 games in a row now where they've had.
I think this is about the fourth game, indeed. Yes.
Fourth game, yeah. Where either the players or the coach will get red card. Now, to go a deep dive into the game itself, I think what Chelsea is doing is the same thing I said about United. When you look at what they are doing, I think there has been a bit of luck for Chelsea. But they've also been very efficient. Whenever they have that chance, they are taking it. They don't. It was the same thing against Liverpool. They have that chance, they are taking it. It might be the only chance in the game. It might be the only 2 chances in the game. They will take it. But beyond that, this is not the Chelsea we saw in the Club World Cup, especially in that final against PSG. And I keep longing for that Chelsea. It seems they haven't hit that gear again. And when you look at how much they spent in the market, the players they bought, Byron Gittins, all those players, I really do wonder at the level. I mean, it's still early in the Premier League season, but at the level those guys are playing now, maybe my expectations are too high. But I really wonder, is this Chelsea quality? Because I mean, I'm thinking back the Chelsea of the days of Abramovich, with the players they had, the caliber of players, the leaders they had in that team. They fielded players like Ballack, Drogba, all those kind of players. Then they moved on to players like Hazard. Is this the quality that we should? It looks as if there's no Cole Palmer on the pitch, we really don't know. We don't know what we might get. But one thing would be constant: a red card. The red card looks like it will be constant, and it looks like the only thing that is guaranteed for Chelsea now. So you really don't know the Chelsea that will turn up. But that was a fantastic performance. But it's also not to take away from the fact that Nottingham Forest were really, really unlucky. They had 2 major big chances that hit the crossbar. Maybe if those chances had gone in, it would have changed the game. And Nottingham Forest created 5 big chances, which leads me to the whole drama at Nottingham Forest. I don't know the personality, how to type or class the personality of Nottingham Forest owner. But it's been a long time since I saw an owner who wants to be involved in day-to-day running. In fact, including being seen. It's like he wants to be the face of the club. He wants to be there. He wants to be the center of attraction. And it looks as if that is affecting the results, what we are seeing as fans. Towards the end of last season.
Let me bring you in there. Maranakas. It seems to be a turn in the team, in his own team. Olympiacos, Nottingham. It seems to be the same story across 2 different countries. What do you say?
He's a madman. Marinakis is a mad. He needs proper psych evaluation. He doesn't have any business being a club owner. He should go and sit down somewhere. Just let people run. People that have the right emotional capacity to run his business. I have never seen anything like this in my life. I've never seen anything like this. 39 days, 5 games. Why? Because he's a manager that's trying to change how your team sets up. Everyone knows Nuno Espirito was more of a defensive style control. Ange would never never play defensive football. Angie would want to attack and get what he can, you know. And that's what he has been doing. And just give him, at least give him half a season. Let him try something. Let him show something. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on at Nottingham Forest. I don't know what Edu Gaspar is doing. I seriously do not know what the structure is at Nottingham Forest. I don't know why the owner of a club would sit and at 2-0 against Chelsea at home, even if you've lost 10 back to back. I remember Arteta's first season. He almost died. If Arteta
Yes.
did not die in that first season, he can't die again. He
Yes.
almost died of losses, right? Take your losses. You are responsible for the issue at Nottingham Forest right now. You sacked a coach that was trying to build something different. Now you've appointed a coach with a philosophy, a very clear philosophy, a coach that managed to win a trophy with Tottenham last year, despite all of the issues that Spurs had, all of the injuries that Spurs went through. I mean, they ended up 17th, but they had so many issues. 5 games. 5 games. You're losing 2-0. Okay, you get up from your seats, then you left the stadium. After 2-0, then you asked George Sirianos to go and sack a coach in the tunnel before he got into the dressing room, like 10 minutes after final whistle. Then he told him that he's no longer the coach. That one just went into the dressing room, talked to the boys, told them his goodbyes, went into his car and drove off. £7 million in the bag. After five
Beautiful.
games. That's crazy. And I'm hearing Sean Dyke's name. And it says, I mean, I know there will always be a line, there would always be a queue for an EPL. That's a top flight league in the country. There will always be a queue for the job. There are not many jobs in the EPL. But still, what is your vision for the club?
Talking about vision.
Needs to go and
Can I come in there? Can I come in there about
Tokwe,
vision?
let me hold you off. Let me bring Chijioke in. Let me be in on this matter. Talking about vision, because if I look at the Nottingham Forest team, they appear to be a team that is definitely improving. I mean, I did watch that Chelsea Nottingham's match, and in that first half, Nottingham were in a different class compared to where they were before. So there was an upward trajectory. Chijioke, what do you think? Do you think that Andy should have been sacked or he should have been left alone to continue with his philosophy? Because it definitely looked like they were going in the right direction, even though they were losing.
So I feel that Edu should be employed by Arsenal, brought to the center of the Emirates Stadium, and sacked again. See, this is the truth. Trouble. You know, I don't know the respected that made them do whatever they did to him. But he was very plain about what happened. He said, "Do you know what? There was a relationship we had with the mother of the son. Then all of a sudden, Eddie entered, and that sort of changed. You have to understand that. That these guys, like his own splitting. The Akos and his own guy. You remember that last year when the time I only had a very terrible injury that I remember.
Yes,
So the manager came on the field. Then when they
indeed,
were fighting for you whatever it is. He came
indeed.
on the pitch and was shouting on the manager. And I remember then when they kept on asking him how he said he now lied and said that he was wondering why Taiwan only was still on the pitch. And he used Awoni's name to lie. They used Awoni's name to lie. And I was like, come on man. Like, do you think all of us are fools here? Why do you do this? Now this is the problem about you know how when this is the truth. He's a very passionate person. I feel that the way he's going about it, he and this English guys, they don't think they don't even waste time. What they will just start doing is that they will just say, do you know what? What they say is that, do you know what? You have to start censoring ownership and all this stuff. Because it's going to happen. You don't just take managers. And I blame the managers that are even going to go and look for the job now. So to speak, and look for the. But I understand that, of course, man must chop. So you must look for the job and try and get the money out of the job. What happens to you at the end of the day? See, I honestly don't see any reason why I should have been sacked. This is the truth. It's not like it's a different thing if you handed in a 30 minute thing. You had it in the team that was in trouble and because he was losing. I remember when Chelsea scored the second goal, the camera just went into where he was standing and he was ready to.
And it's
So
the
I feel
trouble that
that
he created, though. Trouble that he
yes,
created.
he created with his own hand. Yeah, that's what I was pissing me off. You did it. Your person has created that trouble that's in the club. And immediately that you are not throwing blaming fingers at every other person. And so I feel that when you see that they talk about their vision, okay, this is the vision that they have. I don't feel that they have a vision. I don't feel
See,
that they have a vision.
Angie has his own character flaws because that press conference where he was talking, all that talk around Spurs, his story at Spurs, his story at Nottingham, it felt like he knew it was coming or something. But still, Angie is a very direct football coach. He doesn't mince words when he's talking to the press. He says it as it is. Nobody could really blame him, even though he got sacked. And thankfully, after he got sacked, they had to let go of Daniel Levy last year. But nobody could really blame him for Spurs issues. It wasn't like Spurs had the best team in the league. Spurs had sometimes they had like two injuries in one position last year. He was literally playing with his academy team, right? And he still managed to win a title, to win a trophy, a very important trophy at that. You get. So why did you hire him? That's the same thing I asked when people were calling for the sack of Amorim. Why did you hire the coach? What conversation did you guys have? Was the objective to immediately start to win games and win, back-to-back games? Or was the objective to create a stable team that's going to stay in the EPL for a long time? Because Nottingham Forest started out well. Their journey so far, everyone has admired their journey so far. Only for one owner to want to be the main attraction. You're jumping into the pitch at the end of games. You are telling your coach off in the middle of after a game. You're sacking coaches.
Well, what I think about Marinakis is that I know you guys are saying, and I agree with you. He appears as if there is something wrong, but we cannot take away this from him. That ambition for the club. He has taken that club. He brought in Steve Cooper, brought them to the Premier League, got to the Premier League, got Nuno. They are in Europe. I mean, this roller coaster of having to sack managers, to me, it's unacceptable. But there's one name that I saw on the news this evening that has been thrown into the mix of people being seriously considered for the job, and that's Mancini.
Yeah, I saw that
Now,
news too.
Mancini has Premier League experience. He's an experienced manager. If that is the next manager they are getting, whatever they have done to Ange Postecoglou, it looks to me on paper that that's an upgrade on all the coaches they've had in the past. So, like I said earlier, maybe even a madman can be sometimes be correct. In this case, there is a method and consistency to his madness, but that's not to excuse all the nonsense, that has been on display. I believe that things, especially at that level in football or in any corporate organization, things can be better presented, things can be better handled. We should not be seeing all this drama on screen in the Premier League. It's not something that should be commonized. Anyway, but that's that.
Well, Mancini would definitely be an upgrade to the coaches that Nottingham Forest has definitely brought in. But I also think that we are also going to upgrade ourselves. So we're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to look into the next set of matches because we need to start moving forward and not being reactive. We need to be more proactive now. Let's talk about it. Liverpool Brentford. Do you think Liverpool will still strong? Oh, Brentford Liverpool actually, because it's going to be at Brentford Stadium. Do you think that Liverpool will still be wobbly, bubbly, doubly?
Shehu, do you feel that Liverpool is going to win against them?
I think Liverpool would win. I think there
You are
is going to be a
thinking.
call. I think we would win. It's
I don't
come to
understand.
that point where I think it's come to that point where we have to think and not say with confidence because obviously that team is struggling. Mr. Slot is still struggling to find his team, but I honestly believe I believe they will win. Whether that would now be a spring in their step is a different thing entirely, but I believe they will beat
Liverpool,
Brentford indeed.
Liverpool,
I'll tell you why I believe Liverpool will win. It's not as if Liverpool is not creating chances. They are creating chances. right? If it were a problem of, there was no creativity, I would be worried for Liverpool, really. But I think Brentford, they will win that game.
So Arsenal, Crystal Palace.
Brentford will
Chris, let me listen to you first. Yeah.
Brentford will beat Liverpool, or maximum Liverpool will get from that match is
I think you're just saying that from being a hater.
and because Liverpool have struggled in away games.
I think you're just saying that from the position of a hater.
No. I'm saying it as a mix, as a hater, and also because I've said it before. Liverpool is struggling in away games this season. I was surprised to see them lose today's match at home. There was no Anfield fact. I wonder what the atmosphere was like in Anfield today. But there was no.
It was quite dry the last 10 minutes. There was apprehension. There was definite apprehension.
Liverpool, your biggest rivals in your history, but for them to come to Anfield and beat you, going to Brentford, you're going to be walking on needles, like on eggshells. If you make a mistake in the first 30 minutes of that match, it's over.
Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Chijoke. Okay. Aston Villa, Man City, Chris.
Aston Villa, Man City. Wow. Villa.
Man City is beating Villa. Stop this thing you used to do. What is it?
I was wondering why he was thinking hard.
Why are you looking at it?
Before today's game, City will beat Villa. After today's game, when Villa beats Spurs, I'm thinking, and they're at home. I'll give City a slim victory, maybe 2-1. I'll give City a slim.
I can't speak to the number of goals that will be scored, but with this form that Haaland is in, I think anybody facing City should be scared.
Arsenal Crystal Palace will be 3-0. I think Arsenal is one of their highest.
I'm loving this. Boys are putting their money where their mouth is. I'm going to end the session with you. Manchester United, Brighton. What do you think? Do you think that Mr. Amorim will be able to continue his run of form?
I think that's the match that would show, if all the things we've said today, if that's the case or if we are wrong. I hope it will not be a step backward, but I'm expecting that game to be closely contested, but Manchester United should come out with a win. Anything short of that it should be unacceptable.
Then go beat United.
Now,
let me talk like mine, like Toba. I know those boys. I know them. They will play well away like this. When they get to Old Trafford, you just wonder like, what's up with. I told you now. You just download next after cross. I said it. But just what you see. I said it.
Can I just leave one question? Since we are on United, can I just leave one question or something that I've noticed for us to ponder on? Maybe we might discuss it in the future, or maybe anyone viewing the pod can discuss it as well. Have you noticed how Gary Neville loses himself whenever he's running commentary and United scores a goal, especially if it's a winning goal? I mean, but these are paid commentators that are supposed to be.
But they are humans. They are still humans.
No. I mean, we watch football in the 90s and in the early 2000s. It wasn't like this. It wasn't like this.
I remember Arsenal Newcastle. Gary Neville was commentary. Gary Neville said, this is the kind of match if you're a champion, you should win. In the minute Arsenal scored, you should be like, on top of I said, they were like, oh no.
No. The bias is glaring, and I don't think it's
easy. So Gary Neville is not a small name in English football. Okay, he's not a small name in English football.
He is not a small name indeed, and I think
Neville is a big name, and that's why he's getting this commentary. I mean, you have different football fans that run commentary all the time. Depends on which network they're working on, which channel they're commenting for that thing. But the thing is, Gary Neville will always be, especially if it's a Liverpool United match, he will always be on. It's like giving King, opportunity to comment for United. He will always support United, or giving Ian Wright opportunity to commentate for an Arsenal match. He would support. His bias will show. There's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, definitely.
I have a problem with it actually, because I think it's.
I think it makes the league interesting. And I think we have also made today an interesting day in the Banter Clinic. As I said, we are short of one man, but even the boys that are around were able to play some tiki-takas, pull out the stethoscope, doing the drugs together, and they were able to analyze the games of today. It's the end of another session, of the beginning of another one. Next week is a series of matches that we'll have to look at, and we hope that you guys will join us again to sort of look through all the matches of the EPL, particularly the title contenders and anything interesting. I know, Chris, I'm going to let you end with this. You have a rant. You've been trying to rant since the beginning of this week, ever since Arsenal, Liverpool, Arsenal Fulham match. I'm going to let you end with this rant. Rant away.
English Premier League is losing reputation. The reputation is getting damaged all the time. You cannot blow one thing today, you blow another thing tomorrow. Then you come out and say, my family cannot come to the stadium. I cannot bring my daughter.
Let me find out if I will.
We
See,
cannot go
you
to
know, we didn't discuss that Saka stuff. It's not in the first part. I don't say anything. How does the
You've done
penalty
well.
so when I try to tell me that I can clear anybody, clear the person, as long as I have the faintest touch on the ball, then I'm fine.
They
You
said
have done well.
it was a challenge and that he got the ball. He went for the ball. So in my opinion, if I was the referee, I wouldn't have blown it as a penalty. As a neutral football fan, I won't blow it as a penalty because it's not everything that should be a penalty. Go, go. It's not everything that should be a penalty. It was just a slight kick to Saka's knee with his own knee while he was trying to get the ball. Let it go. But any other place on the field, on the pitch, it is a foul.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
My question is, why is there that decision being overturned after like 6, 7 minutes? And it's the reverse of the earlier decision that was overturned after the same like 6, 7 minutes again. What's going on? I don't have anything against Anthony Taylor. I wish him and his family all the best. But if somebody breaks bottle on his head while he's walking on the streets,
No, 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 no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Well, we wish everybody the best as well. As I said, it's a beautiful Sunday. Hopefully, we will catch each other again next week, Sunday. It's a goodbye from me from this side. I hope the boys are saying goodbye as well.
So sorry, bye bye, but sorry for about today. Sorry.